Welcome, everybody, to Trash Sports Takes, Episode 2. I am your host, Ryan Seabreast.
And I am Brent and Liberty, and we're damn glad to have you.
Hell yeah.
Oh, man. You probably didn't think we're coming back for a second. Oh, wait till we blow you away with our third. Oh, man. Yeah, we're making this a whole thing, and we're happy to have you along for the ride. Heard some good things. People seem to like first episode. That was good.
Yeah, we got some good feedback, so let's keep that shit up.
Yeah, let's keep them coming back, but wanting more.
Yeah.
I think we can do that.
I think we can do that.
Man, it's kind of a crazy week this week, though. We got the NFL draft coming up next week.
Yep.
A lot of the sports are going on right now, which a year ago from now was not the case. That would have been a bad time to start this.
Oh, God, that would have been horrible.
Yeah, let's just hope we don't have that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that.
We sort of have everything going on right now, all the pro sports going on right now.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah. You have the draft sort of taking center stage. I think, it's so hard right now because you have like the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs. You know they're coming, but you know they're not coming when they usually come, but you're not exactly sure when that is.
Title of your sex tape.
No. No, you know where I'm coming. It's boom, I'm sudden.
Boom.
Yeah.
3 seconds. Why do I know that?
I made sure you knew that.
Speaking
of sex tapes.
Speaking of dicks, Brett Favre.
What, did he text it to somebody else again?
Yeah. Wasn't that like a Jets?
That was Jen Sturger.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, Brett Favre. Fucking asshole. He's back in the news, with all the political things going on. Brett Favre comes out and says he does not want politics in sports. Quote, I want to watch the players play, unquote.
So who asked him anyway?
Nobody.
Like who was like, man, we really need to know what Brett Favre thinks of this.
Right. And then yesterday, Brett comes back. It's like 5 minutes later. And he comes back and he says, hard to believe Derek Chauvin meant to kill George Floyd.
I don't know. I watched it on video.
Yeah, but he doesn't want sports and politics. And now he's bringing up politics.
It's... People act like this is some new thing.
Right.
Sports and politics have intertwined for a long time.
Yeah.
And that we did have that era in like the 80s and 90s where perhaps it didn't as much. Athletes' brands were really growing at the time and they didn't want to tie themselves to that. It was who was it? Michael Jordan. Republicans buy sneakers too.
Yeah. Yep.
I know he's kind of from that era, but
right.
It's very contradictory to wag your finger at somebody and then go ahead and do it yourself.
Exactly.
It kind of comes off to me as like, oh, I don't want to hear your political takes. Unless they mirror mine, then please, by all means. And it brings to I think a lot of people are like that. It's like the overarching problem in our society right now is you want to believe that everybody that you watch on TV or every place that you buy from has the same values as you. And that's not the freaking case.
Absolutely
and it
not.
never has been.
It never will be.
Yeah. These places, they if it's a big business, ultimately they care about you as a consumer.
Yep.
Any real stance they're taking, it's either that it's one of those places that's really religious or it's pandering to sell you more shit.
Yeah. One example of that is Rack and Roll.
Rack and Roll?
You know Rack and Roll?
Of course I know Rack and Roll.
Yeah. The owner, Jim, he came out on Facebook like a week before the election. And he was like, you just lost a follower. I've known this dude for like 13 years. I spent a lot of money at that bar and he just alienated half of his crowd.
Why do that?
You're a business owner. Don't do that shit.
Well, ultimately, I suppose if he wants to, but at the same time, if that's the way he's going to be, or anybody like that's going to be, you can't tell LeBron to shut up and dribble.
Exactly. Those are the types of people that are saying that.
And it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
The people are going to say things that you don't want them to say. I think that we as a society have to step back. Like if you agree with LeBron, then great or whatever. You disagree with Brett Favre, fine. But it can be compartmentalized.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could even be like, well, I agree with LeBron's politics, but fuck, I hate the Lakers.
Yeah.
You know, those are things you can do. Or you can be like, man, this is a really terrible take from Brett Favre, and I hated his commercials for Wrangler where he's hung those dudes out to dry.
And he sent pictures of his wiener.
Yeah, those are things I don't like, but man, remember when he was throwing those darts to Antonio Freeman? Great times. Like, it can be those things. So it's part of a reflection on us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it doesn't make Favre anything but a huckster who's just trying to stay relevant.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I ever gave the slightest shit about Brett Favre's political ideals.
I've never cared about Brett Favre's political ideals. I don't care about anybody's political
really,
ideas.
yeah.
Like, you believe what you want, and you follow who you want.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I'm not even against Brett Favre having political ideas.
Right.
Or coming out and saying things. But when you preface it all by telling everybody else to shut up, that's a trash sports take.
Yep.
Trash. It is. It's just, I wish we could be all a little more introspective. I mean, I'm a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
Like, I know that I would never be friends with Ben Roethlisberger, but I get happy when he throws a touchdown.
Yeah, of course.
We don't have to be buddies.
You do now.
Well, if he wants to come on the show,
that would be awesome.
I would be. I'd hang out with Big Ben.
I don't think he would fit in this room, though.
We put a second one here. You know what? I would talk to the guys here.
Yeah.
I'd be like, Big Ben's coming in, make some accommodations.
Okay. Make it happen.
Are they not going to for Big Ben?
We're going to be outside.
Hey, I was in a bar once with Big Ben, and they actually closed off half of the bar, and we weren't even allowed to look in that direction. That's why I kind of knew, like, hey, maybe this dude's a jerk, but as long as he continues to throw touchdowns, I don't give a shit. I mean, I prefer if, like, he's not rapey.
That would be best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who knows what actually happened there. I hope that everything worked out the way it was supposed to, because I can't sit here and say, he's a rapist because he didn't get, convicted. So the law says he's not.
Right. But everything else says he is.
But if he is, I'm hoping that's the alleged victims were compensated and are okay.
Our justice system is a bit flawed.
Sure, it can be.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are talking about it right now. And you can talk about it. Just don't tell other people not to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of dick quarterbacks.
I think most quarterbacks are dicks.
I think so too. Tom Brady.
Oh, what did he do?
He came out today not happy about the jersey numbers.
What did he have to say about it?
And he was like, why even have numbers? Just colored jerseys. Why not just wear the same number? Dumb.
I do feel like that's something that all of our dads are going to say when they see receivers number 4 catching the ball. Tackled by linebacker number 2, Steve Stevenson. Or guys like, I remember when our linebackers wore 56.
Yeah. Tom Brady's going to be out there like, is that a quarterback over there? You know who the players are. You know how big the players are. Just let it happen, man. Just let it happen.
I mean, when you played in college, I highly doubt all of your receivers were in the 80s.
Right.
And it's a little looser there. And of course, on defense, it doesn't matter as much because really what the numbers are there to say is who's an eligible receiver and who's not.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe that's some of the concern of it is because you're just like, oh, well, this guy's bearing down on me. He's number 97. I might seriously get hurt. Oh, well, number 24 is bearing down on me. He's going to be quick, but what punch is he going to pack, Yeah. Maybe that's part of it. I don't really know.
I don't care. That's a stupid take.
It is.
Like, to lose your mind over it and go on this, 4-page rant about it, it's just fucking stupid.
Was there any solid points to,
No.
Because why even have jersey numbers? I think that's ultimately the biggest fallout of this.
Yeah. Is
anybody who went out and spent a bunch of money on somebody's jersey, they're going to change it so they can have a single-digit number. Because that's not one of those things. All the rookies are going to want it.
Oh, yeah. And
But the veterans are going to be like, oh, hell no.
Some of them actually might do it just for the new jersey sales.
Oh, yeah. And jerseys aren't cheap.
No, they're the adult ones are $100.
Yeah.
I'm small enough for a youth.
You can buy the pink ones that the girls have.
I could. I wear a youth large.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Not even extra large, just large.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's sad.
You should just like wear like Oshkosh bagosh and shit like adults couldn't wear. That'd be amazing.
I might be able to do that.
I want you to do that. Just like all those kids brands.
If we could get Oshkosh bagosh, that's a really hard thing to say. If we could get them as a sponsor, I will wear your clothes.
Do they make like adult size? Like I'll wear the overalls. I'll be like, the skids on Letterkenny. I don't give a shit. I'll do it. I'd probably look more like a white Vince Wilfork, but
you would, yeah. Oh man, I'm just picturing.
Well, they can make them Vince Wilfork size. They can make them for me.
That's true.
That's the main concern I have with it. Is a lot of people are going to be spending a lot of money, and I've heard that take, and I don't even remember where of like, oh well, this is really going to hurt the apparel companies. In what world does this hurt apparel companies?
It's going to make it so much better for them.
Why do you think like 3 or 4 teams every offseason change their uniforms? Mm-hmm. There's marketing involved with that. And sometimes you're like one of those teams, you think of like a different sports like the Yankees or like the Raiders or even like the Montreal Canadiens or the Chicago Bulls even. They keep like the same thing. The Celtics, you have that classic uniform and you can sell it to everybody. Not everybody's that lucky.
No.
A lot of them flip through things, and it's all just ways to make money.
Yeah.
Unless you have one of those classic looks, you're kind of looking for your classic look. Sometimes teams settled for the look that they were trying to base everything off of in like uniform dark ages, like the early 2000s with those like two-tone things. And
the last Browns uniforms. Like, why? Why did you have to write Cleveland on the side of your pants?
That's what I hated about them.
And like the giant Cleveland on the top of the jersey, like, ugh.
I liked when they finally realized, okay, the only uniform in this style that looks good is the Color Rush uniform, and we're going to wear it all the time.
Yeah, they did that. For the rest of the season, we're not wearing anything else.
Oh, I like when the Rams were like, what if we just halfway change our uniforms? We don't know where we're going to be.
Those uniforms are terrible.
Oh, they kind of hurt your eyes. And, there's some uniforms where they change them and they grow on you.
Yeah.
Like
that one never will.
The Tennessee Titans uniforms have grown on me, those new ones, because I hated those old ones. They were freaking ugly. But I don't see the Rams ones doing that.
They're just so ugly, man. Like it's like a bad college team.
The worst was the Jacksonville Jaguars, like 3-4 years ago when they had like the two-tone helmet.
And that like ugly, like off gold color jersey.
Yeah, like do you remember NCAA football? Like,
yeah, of course.
Remember when you play like 1AA Midwest and they'd have these goofy ass uniforms? That's what they looked like. There's some team you throw on your schedule to run over by 75.
Yeah.
Those are good times. But
that game's coming back too.
It is. But either way, I feel like we just had more of an interesting conversation about NFL uniforms than getting mad about jersey numbers. I don't get it. I whatever, We've been watching it like that for a while. And I think some people just, if something's different, they're not going to like it because they got used to things being a certain way. I remember like when the referees changed up their uniforms and people were pissed for like 2 months.
Yeah, like why?
Yeah, who cares? You can still tell what they're doing.
Yeah, they're still wearing stripes.
Yeah, there is some things that are kind of funny though. Remember when they came out like the Revolution helmets and everyone's like, wow, that is weird looking.
Yeah.
Now if you go back and watch like an NFL game from like the ESPN Classic from like 1994, helmets they're wearing, they're just like, like what did they just get like, I don't know, like hard hats from construction sites
with
and
one bar going across.
Like what did that protect? That just looks, you sneeze on that and you get a concussion. Oh man, there's a few. I remember Scott Player had that.
Scott Player did have that. Yeah.
I remember Gary Anderson had the
Gary
one
Anderson.
bar.
That's the one I was thinking of though.
I kind of like the Morton Anderson. We had the 2 bars really close together.
Yeah. Yeah. Gary Anderson had that one bar going around. Like, what is that going to protect?
Looking like the goddamn water boy.
Yeah. Like, I could put my entire arm in your face mask.
I actually I want to see him wrap somebody up sometime with that thing.
Oh, man, that'd be great. I love when kickers blow somebody up. That makes me so happy.
This should happen more often.
It should. Jamie Gillian, the Scottish Hammer, he laid some people out. He fucking killed some people.
Do you remember Joey Julius from Penn State?
No.
They had this kicker. He was like a kickoff specialist, and he was this little fat dude.
No.
And
I do remember that.
And he would just run down and kill people.
Yeah.
Like he got folk hero status in State College. But yeah. he left early. He had some issues. I'm hoping things are good with him. He seemed like he was definitely a fun player to watch.
Yeah. Well, another fun player to watch was the quarterback for Kentucky, who was like, what was his name? He was
Jared Lorenzen?
Yes.
The hefty lefty?
The hefty lefty.
Pillsbury throw boy.
He was so much fun to watch. Sucked, but he was fun to watch.
Also a weird number thing, because I remember he wore like 22 in college.
Yeah. I thought like maybe in the 90s or something.
You get that sometimes. I remember Michigan a few years ago had a quarterback wore number 97.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like this whole number thing is not new.
It's not new. Like you did it in college.
You know, in my opinion, having Tom Brady, take a break from polishing his rings and wearing his his copper pajamas and banging his supermodel wife to go on Instagram and thumb out a fucking 500-word essay on jersey numbers is a trash sports take.
That is a trash sports take. But how do you wear copper pajamas?
He has that like guru that like the Patriots kicked off their like campus, and that's sort of the beginning of the end. And yeah, he sells like these special like ionized pajamas or some shit for like $400. I don't know. I just think he's a guy who eats really well, works out really hard.
He's probably that dickhead that goes out and like orders the burger with the gold on it, and it's actually like real gold melted.
See, he would never order a burger, though. He's going to be like that Bill Romanowski, where if he sees you drinking like a Pepsi, he treats you like you're the biggest piece of shit who ever lived. But it's a lot of that. I think he puts in a lot of work on that.
He does, yeah.
And there's some quack that was just be like, yeah, you know what? Keep working out and wear these magical Mormon underwear and you will play football forever. And people are like, well, shit, he's played football forever. It might work.
Ow.
What the hell just happened?
I just hit my head on the microphone.
It's right. It's like, okay, whatever. So what else we got on deck today?
Oh, fuck. All right. Martin Cizmar.
Who the hell's Martin Cizmar?
Nobody fucking knows. He's a blue check mark.
How do you spell that?
Cizmar. Martin Cizmar says, and this is just 5 days ago, all I will say in my defense is there is a reason that Josh Rosen was in a quarterback room with Tom Brady last year. I still think he's a unique talent, but the record is the record. Josh Rosen is not the guy.
I could see. I still think Rosen could be one of those dudes that was a victim of circumstance.
Could be, but Cizmar, he said about the Browns, he said, they're going to take Darnold and I'm going to stop watching the team and follow whoever takes Rosen. Who are you watching now? Who's he?
I think he's with the Niners. I think he's a backup there.
Yeah.
It is hard because that's the problem. It goes back to the Grossi point last week where bad situations can ruin quarterbacks.
No, for sure. It can.
And I understand that he was in some weird situations with the team for a year, and then they trade him, and then they just kept getting passed around, and he was definitely one of those guys who kind of needed a year to ride the pine and learn, and it just didn't happen for him. I mean, like, I'm not saying he's on this guy's level. I'm not. But you want to talk about a guy who had the perfect situation to come up with? Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he went from an air raid offense in college to like a pro style, and he needed, that's a guy you need to have on the bench for a while. And you put him behind Alex Smith, who's like the consummate pro.
He's going to be a head coach.
Extremely bright.
He's going to be a head coach someday.
Yeah, like it was the perfect guy to have him behind. It all sort of worked out for him. And then when he was ready, and it's I don't think it's the end of the world to do that to guys, but Alex Smith was also the victim of those things too. If I'm Cizmar here and I believe what I'm saying, I think Alex Smith is the guy I'm looking at. Alex Smith went into a Niners situation that was a disaster.
It was bad.
They had new coaches, new offensive coordinators every year. At one point in time, he had like 6 offensive coordinators in 7 years or something.
It's like the Browns.
And he would look like a huge bust.
Yeah.
But then they got, Harbaugh in there. They started to have some stability, and he started making plays. And then he became that guy where, hey, we can trust him to come to our franchise, take things over, show guys how to win. He might not be the greatest quarterback ever, but we can trust in him.
Yeah.
And that was a good role for him. And I'm not saying that I think that Rosen's on that trajectory, but if you are really holding on to Rosen's career, that's what you're looking at with it. Like honestly, I think he's more of like a David Carr, where he got the shit beat out of him, got a bad rap, and then like he's too shell-shocked and fucked to ever do anything with it?
I think he's just going to be the third string quarterback for every team he plays for.
I honestly, I think he's going to end up being Blaine Gabbert.
I could see that too.
Where he's going to bounce around, play these different teams, occasionally get a start, and you'll be like, holy shit, he's still in the league. And maybe he puts together a good game where he goes like 20 for 38 with 2 touchdowns and an interception. You're like, well, that wasn't good, but that wasn't as bad as I expected. And then he gets another 4 years out of it. That's honestly what I think he's going to do.
I think he's going to be that guy that like every time like a team goes through all their quarterbacks with injuries and stuff, they call that guy for like 1 or 2 games.
You guys had a couple of those guys that I can think of. Those bounce around guys that get a job and maybe string together a couple of okay games and continue to get jobs. And I think of Thaddeus Lewis and I think of Bruce Gradkowski.
That's the one I was thinking about, Gradkowski.
But at the same time, right around that era, a little bit after, you had a guy that really has become that in his career in Colt McCoy.
That's true. I mean,
there's room for guys like that, and that's honestly probably what Josh Rosen is.
Yeah, but Cizmar, dude, you're holding on to the wrong guy, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, even if you want to wish him well and you think he got screwed, and that's probably about where I stand on it.
Because I wish him well.
Yeah, I think he did get kind of screwed. I think it's a little unfair. But, I mean, he's nothing that I'm going to be like, wow, some team needs to stash him because he's the future. I don't think you can say that now. I think it's more like, wow, Matt Barkley's still the backup quarterback of the Buffalo Bills? How the hell did that happen? That's where I think he's going to end.
To say, like, he was in the same room as Tom Brady for a reason, get the fuck out of here.
No, they're both quarterbacks.
Yeah, exactly. They're in the quarterback room, asshole.
Yeah.
But this Cizmar guy has some really bad takes all the time. I just discovered his Twitter account like last week because people were talking about him.
Smush Parker played on the same team as Kobe Bryant for a reason.
Smush.
If you really want to, it's such a bad way to look at that. Like try to make that point.
It is.
Those are my favorite kind of bad take artists, though, where they just keep going. They're not pulling that Clay Travis shit where they pretend they didn't just say what they just said. They keep going back to it and efforting that bad take.
Holding on
like
to
we're
it.
Just dragging this rotting corpse along because we're going to get it there.
Yeah.
I love those bad take artists where they will die on this hill.
I mean, at least you're owning it. At least you're owning it, Martin.
Yeah, but why, man? Everybody can be wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I'm wrong all the time.
That's why this is the trash sports take.
Yeah.
Is because if he has that Blaine Gabbert moment where he comes in and he doesn't take a shit on the field.
Cizmar will be on there.
I told you so.
Yeah.
They wwin 13-10. He hands the ball off 47 times and completes 13 of 23 passes.
For 96 yards.
My man's back.
Rosen was in that room for a reason.
Because that's his future. And that's okay.
That's all right.
What? He's going to be able to play professional football.
And you know what? Josh, you go make that money, man. You make that backup quarterback money because that is the easiest money you will ever make.
Yeah, what's his name? They just Chase Daniel. I mean, have you ever seen him in a game and you're like, yeah, this guy's a quality NFL quarterback.
Right.
But he's carved out like a 13-year career.
Exactly.
Just being the guy, just holding on field goals. And, I think of like, what is the dream job in sports? And there's a few of them. Backup catcher in the majors.
Okay.
Because if you hit like 196, but you continue to catch the balls thrown to you and occasionally throw somebody out, you can play in the league until you're 40.
It's true.
They don't care. You don't have to hit. You play 30 games a year.
But the starter moves to first base after 5-6 years because their knees are fucked up.
Yeah, this guy is actually good. We can't have him getting destroyed back here.
Yeah.
Backup. Is it my turn? No, it's never your turn.
No, it's not going to be your turn.
But you know what? You're going to make $1 million a year, and you're going to do nothing.
Yeah. Josh Rosen of baseball.
Oh, man. That's a great job.
Yeah. Own it. Own it.
Like the backup goaltender in hockey where you get in once every 2 weeks, and usually you're just over there in the side of the bench with a baseball cap on. I want to be that guy.
Yeah. That sounds fun.
Yes. Or that professional golf player that's good enough to continue to stay on the tour. And it's like, damn it, I'm no Tiger. I only made $3.6 million last year playing the game that I love. I don't even have throngs of fans. That'd even be better. The guy who's like 46 every week on the leaderboard, and he makes the cuts and gets like, oh, here's another check for $300,000. Or even if it's like $30,000. $30,000 for playing golf in a beautiful location for 4 days.
Like when Happy Gilmore got his first check.
Yeah, and the purses are bigger than that now.
Yeah.
Like that, I'd like to be that guy. Just to, complete no name on the tour.
See, the problem for me though is like I find it difficult to golf without beer.
Well, if it was my job.
I mean, I've had jobs where I could drink at work.
Well, the PGA Tour is not going to be one of them.
Well, and that's why I wouldn't.
Unless you're John Daly, then they just let him do whatever the hell he wants.
Railing coke off his putter. That does sound fun.
What a day. What a day. Man, I got this purse. Wow, I missed the cut this week. All I have is all this money that Titleist paid me.
Oh, man.
That sucks. Yeah, because all those dudes are sponsored and shit.
Exactly. We need a sponsor. We need a good sponsor.
Titleist.
Osh gosh bagosh.
There we go. Yeah, thanks for tuning in to the Trash Sports Takes podcast, brought to you by Osh Gosh Bagosh and Titleist Pro V1s. Oh, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some trash sports takes with golf. But you see, that's the thing. The big one's coming up, the NFL draft.
Yep. What do you got for this?
Oh, man. Well, I just think when I look at the NFL draft this year, first of all, we are always victims of groupthink. We've talked about that, where some teams are going to make some dumb decisions. Some teams will make some smart decisions later. And a lot of times it's a way for like the rich to get richer, but that's just because they're the stable, smarter franchises. Right. You think about like the Chiefs getting Clyde Edwards-Helaire last year in the bottom of the first round. And some people are like, oh, he got hurt a little bit. Well, you know what? He was definitely better than a lot of dudes taken above him.
That's true.
Because you have those teams that are able to, I mean, there's still going to be good players down there. And a lot of times there's dumb reasons that people fall. You get takes about that. That's a good one right there.
Yeah.
It's just ones that I've heard like, oh, well, you can always draft your running backs later. And that's not necessarily the case. Just because some teams have like, as I said, as a Steelers fan, I do feel that it's probably smart for them to draft a running back in the first 2 rounds. Right now, they have guys like Benny Snell and Jalen Samuels and Anthony McFarland. Those guys have been mid to late round picks, and I'm not trusting them to carry that ball. But they're not set up to run the ball well. If you really want to rebuild this, I think that's a good place for you to look.
I think Pittsburgh needs to go offensive line in the first round.
Oh, I think that they're going to end up going offensive line multiple times in this draft.
They need it because Ben's going to get killed.
From what I've heard, and this could end up being a trash sports take, there are 3 guys that they're really looking at in the first round, and 2 of them are offensive linemen.
Okay.
And from there, it just goes down to, okay, this is our board and who's available and who do you, and like if they're all 3, who's the best one on it? Yeah. If the only one is that running back, which everybody thinks the Steelers are going to take in Najee Harris, then that's who you take. And I don't think anybody would be upset with that. But I also hate that because it seems like since everybody in the world expects Najee Harris to play for the Steelers, right, it's going to end up where some teams like, well, no, I'm the Dolphins. I have 97 picks and we have Myles Gaskin and he sucks. I'm going to trade up right before the Steelers, and I'm going to take it. I've seen it happen to teams where it just becomes telegraphed of like what they want to do, and then they get snagged. But there's one guy in this draft I feel like he's tumbling, and I don't understand why.
Who?
Justin Fields.
Yep.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Not at all.
I've seen some trash sports takes of things being held against him.
Okay, so there's this really shit tweet about it. Well, Ian Rappaport came out and said OSU quarterback Justin Fields has confirmed to NFL teams during the pre-draft process that he's managing epilepsy. So he has seizures, but he's never had one on the field, and it's never affected his football career. But they're using that.
He's going to lose millions of dollars over something that really doesn't affect his game at all.
Right, exactly.
Jay Cutler had type 1 diabetes, and he was drafted in the top 10.
Exactly.
Adam Morrison in the NBA, he was a top 3 pick, despite that mustache.
Yeah, that mustache was
And, of course,
something.
The type 1 diabetes, and that's, that's rough.
All right, so I found the tweet, and of course, it's from Michigan Football Hot Takes. God damn it. He says,
well, he's delivering them.
A lot of risk in the first round for all that guaranteed money. Plus, every single OSU quarterback has been a complete bust in the NFL. Odds are heavily against him. That is the laziest fucking take.
I feel like it might be a little biased.
Oh, a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was the last OSU quarterback that was Elvis Gerbach? Nobody. He's no Brian Greasy, I'll just tell you that. Well, they have one. They can hang their hat on him. But the thing is they treated him like shit when he was there.
Yeah.
If I was Tom Brady, I'd never claim Michigan.
No, fuck
Remember
that.
they got that dude Drew Henson, who was like the #1 baseball and football prospect, and then ended up not being good at either of them.
Yeah, he sucked at both.
And they'd be like, oh, Tom Brady just threw his 3rd touchdown, but that's okay because our king's coming in. Oh, he threw an interception. It's okay. He's going to be good. Not like that piece of shit Tom Brady. Like, they really kind of fucked him.
They really did, yeah.
That's the only good Michigan quarterback I could think of. We've seen that kid play.
Yeah.
I mean, he was blue chip all the way through. It still kills me because I'm a Penn State fan, and he was at one point in time committed to Penn State.
Okay.
But Joe Moorhead was the offensive coordinator. That's the guy who recruited him. He ended up going to Mississippi State. And he's like, well, Penn State, I'm willing. Happy Valley sounds awesome. Yeah. I'm not going to go to fucking Mississippi State. You kidding me? So he ended up at Georgia. But he was like the #1 recruit coming out of high school. Yeah. And you know what? He showed it last year. I think he caught a lot of shit for the national championship. Because, I mean, honestly, I think that Alabama team, it's like an all-timer. That was an excellent Alabama team. Even for Alabama team standards, who's always in the thick of it. They were just loaded. They ran Ohio State, which was also an excellent team off the field. Clemson, look at what he did to Clemson. Some of the prettiest bombs I've ever seen in my life. Just
beautiful.
Dimes.
Beautiful. Here's my hot take for the draft. I think Justin Fields is going to be the best quarterback in this draft.
I see a path to it. But, I mean, even if he's not, like, if you're a big believer in Zach Wilson or, like, Trevor Lawrence, he has all that, and he has national championships, and he's been the guy since he was 18 years old. Like, that was, because those two, they actually kind of, you'll probably hear it 1,000 times in the draft, they actually grew up near each other and were, like, high school rivals.
Okay.
So.
Oh, that would have been fun to watch.
God, could you imagine that?
Yeah, man.
Trey Lance. Yeah, he went to North Dakota State, and he was awesome. He didn't have a turnover his freshman year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't believe in his NFL ability. But at the same time, what tape do you really have on the guy? That's a guy who really needed to stay in college.
Honestly, I think it's going to be another Carson Wentz situation.
But that's not fair either.
It's not.
Because then you're starting to, I mean, you probably have more to go off of than the whole Ohio State thing, and here's why. North Dakota State has a powerhouse there.
Yeah.
No, they have good players. Like, they have an offensive tackle, Dylan Radunes. I really think he's going to be something.
He's going to be amazing.
That kid who hasn't lost a game since, like, Little Gritters.
He was in the movie Little Giants.
He was Spike.
Yeah. He was the, what's the center who did the annexation of Puerto Rico?
Oh, yeah, a little fat kid?
Yeah. That's him.
I can't remember.
I love that movie.
But, they are a FCS powerhouse.
Yeah, they are.
And,
but I feel like they're just, every team they play is JV, But, I mean, we've had these arguments about guys on that level before that have broken through. Josh Allen was more extremely low-level Division I, but who's he playing against and who's he playing with? Right. And you know what? I had question marks about that. He's proven me wrong because, so he has this crap team. He's completing 55% of his passes. What do we see in him? And then they were saying, well, I'm telling you, it's just him playing with a bunch of children that they found and brought to the game. And I mean, clearly that looks to be true. There is one reason why you have a better point than that, and I'm not entirely agreeing with your take there. There is a reason that you might have a better point than our Michigan friend here. What's that?
Obviously, with that sort of powerhouse, they've had the same structure in place that whole time. Yeah. So a guy like Trey Lance is running that offense that Carson Wentz ran. That and Carson Wentz, I still think, could have been an excellent quarterback, and he was. He had that RG3 where just the knee got shredded and he lost it. I mean, he did get a ring. And I don't care if it was Foles that ended up getting them across the finish line. They wouldn't have been there without him. So, I mean, it's a little like I still think it was one of those injury and confidence thing. He's not a guy I'm closing the door on at all. Yeah. But at least that's a better take than, Ohio State quarterbacks suck. Because here's the problem with it. He's talking about guys like Braxton Miller.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cardale Jones, who were excellent at Ohio State and didn't take us to the next level. Well, they were all under Urban Meyer. Right. Or even if we're going back to like Tressel, what happened to Craig Krenzel's NFL career? Craig Krenzel was shocked that he had an NFL career. Exactly. That dude went there so he could go to med school, which I hear he eventually did. Yeah. Good for him.
Terrell Pryor.
Yeah, that was who killed. Yeah.
Yeah, he ended up being a pretty good receiver for a year.
He probably should. I honestly think he could have been an excellent receiver if he would have started doing that like back in college.
Exactly.
But it's a entirely different like brain trust. It's not, Ryan Day's running that show now.
Hell yeah.
We don't know. I mean,
and Ryan Day came out last night on Twitter saying, positive things about Justin Fields.
But I understand having those questions. I feel like they'll both sort of answer each other because there's some that we don't know about Ryan Day. Like, hey, well, let's give it 3 or 4 years. Let's get his guys in there, you know? Oh, yeah, look at you do all this with Urban Meyer's guys, you know? Maybe they're both great.
Yeah.
Maybe it is a system thing. But right now, I just don't feel like that's really the take to have because you just don't know. It's like how you'd hear things about like, oh, Penn State running backs always suck in the NFL.
Right.
Well, Saquon looks pretty good.
He looks great.
Miles Sanders looks pretty good.
Yep.
And neither of them were recruited by Joe Paterno, which is who you're judging this off of.
Exactly.
It's a different world.
Yeah.
And you have to keep those things in mind. Yeah. I don't understand why people want to shit on this kid so much. It doesn't make sense to me.
It really doesn't. He's going to be a great quarterback. He's got the arm strength. He's got the accuracy. He's a good fucking quarterback.
Yeah. And you know what's going to happen if he's not?
Huh.
I'll own it.
Yeah, me too.
I'll say I was wrong, and I won't try to drag that rotting corpse up the hill.
I'm not going to be dragging Josh Rosen.
But I think at this point in time, watching him tumble to a team that's smarter, that's going to put him in a better situation to succeed, it's a double trash sports take. Because it's watching him tumble down the draft board is a trash take by a lot of these garbage-ass teams up at the top, and you know because you were a fan of one of them for a long time.
Who do you think he goes to?
Okay, let's say he tumbles past top 10. It's a good question.
Yeah.
You know, there's some teams out there that, like, I know the Falcons are looking to trade around. I could see the Eagles taking him, actually. I'm not the biggest believer in Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I'm not either. I don't think they are
I don't think he's accurate enough.
No.
He wasn't at Alabama. That's why Tua took his job in about 10 minutes.
Exactly.
And so what? Yeah, he was good at Oklahoma. Anybody's good at Oklahoma. That's a system set up for that.
Yep.
I'm not the biggest believer in him. You know, a team like Denver could really look into him. Mm-hmm. Honestly, there's plenty of teams. He's not going to make it out of the first round. And that's why, you know, as a Steelers fan, I hear these people, what if he falls to the Steelers? It's not going to happen.
Get the fuck out of here.
It's not.
Unless you trade up.
I don't think they're in the position to do so. Like, they need a lot to rebuild the rest of that offense.
Exactly.
And I really think that a team that drafts as well as the Steelers can make things sustainable if they do this correctly. But pulling, Mike Ditka for Ricky Williams is not going to make that happen.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't see them doing it. But if he fell there, you have to look long and hard.
You would have to, yeah.
I mean, the only way he's going to fall that far is if he pulls the Laramie Tunsil and the video comes out next week, but he's like smoking crack out of the gas mask. That's like the only way that's going to happen.
The crack mask.
The crack mask. The crack mask would do this.
Yeah. That would be funny, though.
I'm sort of rooting for it. And you know what? I'll eat my words. If you know what? If the picture's out there with the crack mask,
put it up.
We had the trash sports take.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah. All right, so we got time for one more.
One more? We can shoehorn it in there. What you got?
All right. I want to flame Kevin Porter Jr. real quick.
Okay, do it.
Cleveland dropped him. He had some issues in Youngstown. You know?
that's where issues occur, yes.
Issues do occur in Youngstown. And they let him go, and he's with the Houston Rockets now. KPJ is a great player. He has all the potential in the world to be a very good player in the league. But he went out, broke protocol, and got in a fight at a strip club.
Oh, he's getting rebellion at the strip club?
Yep.
I hate seeing that happen with players. And those are always trash sports takes, you know? One guy that's going to be very familiar to you is Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
And one thing I really get sick of is every time there's a hint of Josh Gordon coming back, they're like, here it is, Hall of Fame, baby. It's mad. Like, he had like 10 good weeks in 2013.
Also, he was on like every drug you could think of during those games. Have you read the HQ article with him?
I've read some stuff, yeah.
Oh my God, man.
And I mean, it's always sad to see somebody with ability just self-destruct.
He could have been
he could
one
have
of the
been.
Best.
But the people who are still waiting for it are ridiculous.
Yeah,
like, it's not going to happen.
That was 2013. Like, he's not going to be the same guy. He caught one touchdown pass from Johnny Manziel in the fans call the fucking plays league, whatever it is. That's it.
I think that's my favorite thing about those Browns teams is like you turn them into the jailblazers of the NFL. Yeah. They're just insane people everywhere.
They're all playing in that fucking league now on the same team.
Where there's like black lights and shit.
Yeah, there are, yeah.
It's like the cosmic bowling of football.
All right, so that was KPJ. Dumbass, don't go to the strip club. Like, I'm not hating on the strip club. I enjoy it once in a while.
Like, I feel like I keep turning everything back to the Steelers, but okay, they picked up Dwayne Haskins this offseason, which is the other, bust quarterback they're talking about.
But he had the same situation.
Well, now if he does it, because the dude lost everything over it, and he has a team that's given him a chance, and there's no guarantee that he's going to make the team. They lose nothing if he fails.
No.
They gain everything if he succeeds. But, I mean, he has to be under a microscope.
Yeah.
He can't do that shit again. And if he does it again, he's blackballed. He's gone because nobody's going to want that guy. Yeah.
All for titties. Wait until the off season to go to the titty bar if you want to do that.
Yeah, you can be there every day. Nobody's going to care.
Yeah, you can go for eggs and legs if you want to.
Put up a cot in the back.
Brunch.
Everyone's going to be fine with it. But, I mean, if your entire career's on the line, don't be dumb.
All right, we're going to do one more.
All right.
Jason Whitlock.
I fucking hate Jason. And I blame you for this, Ryan.
Why do you blame me for this?
Okay, so with all the little media projects and stuff we have, I probably spend more time on like Brent and Liberty or the other things like that than I do on any other like social media platform. But I do have like one old one that I had from like for a decade. And I don't really use it anymore, so I used it to just kind of follow the Trash Sports Take artist.
Yeah.
And oh, man, every time I look there, Jason Whitlock is saying some other dumb shit. Oof. Well, what do we have today?
Now, this is concerning the LeBron James tweet. So he says, LeBron James, like other elites, is using racial division.
Okay, when you're leading off with that, we're already...
or like other elites.
We're getting to some QAnon shit.
Right, exactly. Is using racial division as a distraction as... He says elites twice. He says it like 4 times in this tweet. Good Lord. All right.
Oh, he's hammering it.
LeBron James, like other elites, is using racial division as a distraction as elites reshape America to be more like communist China.
That's a little bit of a
Not done yet. Elites prefer communism. Millionaire elites are protected by communism. They're the talented 10th. In quotation marks. You're being played.
I don't know. It sounds to me like he's being played a little bit.
Yes, he is. QAnon shit right there, man.
Yeah. Where we go one, Jason Whitlock goes all.
Holy shit. He said elites 4 times in one tweet.
That was some nonsensical shit there.
That was. It just...
Like, what is your point? Obviously, if you have Brett Favre taking his shots at you while wearing his Wranglers and hanging his receivers out to dry on the commercial.
Sending dick pics to Jen
Sturger. if he's taking a break from all that shit that he has going on to take shots at you, I mean, people are... You got to watch what you say.
It was a bad tweet.
It was.
It was...
But shouting like a manic street preacher is not the response to it, Jason Whitlock. What the hell are you talking about? You sound like a crazy person.
Elites.
Well, I mean, that gets like the worst crowd fired up. But that's what he cares about. And he does it in this way. He's like Black Ben Shapiro. He just does it in this way that like where the dumbest people will be like, man, this guy is right. But it doesn't even make any sense.
Ben Shapiro sucks.
What happened to you? And he tries to make himself to be a martyr every time that he fucks himself out of another job.
Yeah. I cannot believe that tweet, man. It just doesn't make any sense.
It has that like Papa John coming on after his controversy saying, I eat 4 pizzas a day. And they'll be telling you they're not as good. While he's sweating and looking like a maniac.
And the My Pillow guy.
Yeah, it has that like that vibe of somebody after everything just got shook up for them trying to save face and only showing how crazy they are.
I had a dream a little bit after the whole My Pillow guy thing. And it was this very vivid dream. All right. I was like a news reporter on top of a building for no fucking reason, like shoveling dirt. And I kind of look out the corner of my eye and I see the My Pillow guy coming after me with a shovel. So I turn around and drop that motherfucker. And then I woke up screaming, "Fuck!" And
he's probably going to sue you over that.
I don't give a fuck.
You can't be dreaming about me.
You can sue me all you want. I don't have any money.
I remember like about a year ago, my wife saw like one of his commercials like, "Oh no, he seems like a nice guy. Maybe his pillows are great." Like, "All right, I want you to Google him. His name's Mike Lindell. Let's see what you think. You think he's a nice guy?" He's like, "Oh my God, he's a maniac." Like,
but my mom was upstairs at the time. Like she wakes up at like 4 a.m. for no fucking reason. So this happened like early morning and she heard me. So I came upstairs and she's like, "Did something happen last night?" And I was like, "No, why?" And she's like, "I heard you scream, 'Fuck!'"
And you're just like, you should just like completely out of context. Like, well, if Mike Lindell steps to me while I'm shoveling shit on my TV show, I'm dropping that motherfucker.
That's exactly what I said. I was like, well, the My Pillow guy came after me and I fucking dropped him.
It was on my TV show, Mom. I'm just trying to do my job, and Mike Lindell's fucking up, so I hit him with a shovel.
Yeah, like, I don't know why I was shoveling dirt on top of a building as a news reporter.
Why the dirt was on top of the building, why you were shoveling it, and why this was newsworthy. And I certainly don't know why Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy, had such a problem with it.
Like, I'm trying to do my job here. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It was a great dream, though. I
And I beat the shit out of Mike Lindell.
I dropped that motherfucker. Like, I hit him solid in the face. I knocked his fucking mustache off.
Well, now you'll be able to shovel roof dirt on your TV show in peace. And that's really what matters.
On that note,
man, there's a lot of trash sports takes this week, wasn't there?
There was. There's going to be it's going to be a lot to try to fit in that little picture.
Little like polyphonic spree, just like 40 dudes in there.
Last week I couldn't fit Tony Grossi's dumb face in there.
Oh no, we all missed out. We had to pay $8 in order to do that.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that.
Grossi had a bad take again this week. Shocking, right?
No, I'm sure he'll make future shows. We'll get your picture on Grossi. We're not even paying you a fucking dime. We could go on and on.
I could go all night with this show.
Ryan, when you're not beating Mike Lindell to death with a shovel in your dreams because he's interrupting your dirt shoveling show, where can we find you?
I don't know, because I'm always there.
In some ways, I've never left.
You can find me on Twitter at Trash Sports Take, because some asshole already has the Trash Sports Takes.
It's Brent Liberty.
It's probably Brent Liberty, followed by Britney Spears. You can find me we're on Instagram, but we're not really doing anything on there yet.
Well,
but we're going to.
Stay tuned. It's coming.
Stay tuned. We're going to do that. We're going to have a TikTok going. I need to look into that. I logged out of it last week, and now I can't get back in.
You got to get back in. It's there. There's going to be a TikTok. We're going to take down people. There's going to be dances and shit. I don't really know TikTok that well.
I would pay to see you dance.
Well, maybe they will. And you guys can too by checking out our TikTok. It's Trash Sports Takes on TikTok. I will be dancing.
Yep. And we also have trashsportstakes.com.
Yeah, that's where our blog's going. We have some things up there, and we also do a really cool write-up on every episode on there. So that's something that you'll all want to check out. Yeah. And we see different takes. That's where we're going to be taking them down. There's lots of stuff coming up. You can find us on Facebook. Just look for Trash Sports Takes. Mm-hmm. And then also check out our Patreon.
Yeah.
Our Patreon is, since we are under the Idiotville Productions umbrella, you can find our Patreon at patreon.com/Idiotville Podcast.
And we're usually naked.
Usually.
If you want to pay for that.
Yeah, wink. And you can check out our OnlyFans.
P. Diddy and DJ Khaled started their own OnlyFans together.
What?
Yeah. And I'm very confused by it.
Come on, watch DJ Khaled jerk off. It's the real music.
DJ Khaled!
Puffy's thought I told you that we won't stop.
He didn't stop.
I watched for 40 minutes.
He didn't stop.
Why am I paying money to watch DJ Khaled jerk off?
In front of Diddy. All right, we got to end this fucking episode.
So yeah, I am Brent and Liberty.
I'm Ryan Seabreast.
And we will see you next week. Another one! Is he nuts?